Okay, so in the last video, I showed an example of how a package can be set up where we created a package called Sport, we included sub-packages called Football, Golf and Tennis, and then within the sub-packages we included some modules, as can be seen on screen here. To save us some time, I have actually now created this folder structure on my machine. So as you can see here, I have a folder called Sport. When I click on Sport, you'll notice that we have the init.py file. And we also have sub-packages called Football, Golf and Tennis. Now don't worry about the dunder pycache dunder folder here. This will be automatically created on your machine when you first execute your source code. And in short, you can just ignore it. It's a way that Python is able to execute your source code faster when you next run it. Now, if I double click on the football sub-package, you can see once again we have the init.py module, and then we have the three modules labeled attack, celebrate, and defend. And in line with the diagram that we created in the last video, I have also done the same for the golf sub-package by including an init.py file. I've also included a chip, drive, and putt module. And within the tennis sub-package, we once again have an init.py file, and then we have the bounce, celebrate, and swing modules. Now for the purposes of this example, we're going to focus on the sub-package called football. And if I take you across to Visual Studio Code, I've opened each file respectively. In the attack.py file, you can see that we have a simple script. We first of all print out player is attacking, and then we've defined a shoot function, which when called will print out player shoots. We have a celebrate.py file, which simply prints out player is celebrating, and then we have a defend.py file, which simply prints out player is defending. So it's very easy code to understand, but let's see if we can call this within a Jupyter notebook to ensure we know how to navigate modules and file structures. Now when importing modules from packages, we do this by using the dot operator or dot notation. For example, if we want to import the attack module, which we know sits within the sub-package called football, we can do this as follows. We can first of all type import, and then we can put the package name, i.e. the top level package, which we know is called Sport. We can then place a dot, and after the dot, we are going to place the sub-package in which the attack.py file resides. So we can put football. If we then want to access the code that sits in the attack module, we can then put another dot and put attack. When we now run this code, you can see that we print to the screen player is attacking. And that's because the first line of code that resides in this file is a print statement which states player is attacking. Now because we are just importing the module name here through the package, sub-package and then module, every time we want to call a function from this module, we would have to write out sport.football.attack and then execute a function. For example, if we wanted to call the shoot function, we would need to put sport.football.attack.shoot and then put parentheses. When I run this code, you can see we print out player shoots. But this isn't a great use of time. To write this out every single time would be quite annoying. So as we've seen earlier, we can alias this with a different name. So if we put import sport.football.attack as att, all we need to do now is call att and then access the shoot function. So we can then put dot shoot with parentheses and it prints out player shoots. Now if we knew exactly what function we wanted to call from the attack module, which sits within the football sub-package, we can import it directly. So we could put from sport, which is the package, dot football, which is the sub-package, dot attack, import shoot. If we do it this way, All we need to do now is call shoot with parentheses, and when we run the code now, it prints out player shoots. And it's very clear as to what we're importing here and from where we are importing it. Now the same goes for other modules. If we wanted to defend, what we could now do is we could import sport.football.defend, which is the path where this module sits, and if we run this code, you can see that we print to the screen, player is defending. So hopefully this is clear as to how we can access different functions from within a module, which sits within a sub-package, which can obviously sit within other sub-packages, and ultimately a top-level package. We can provide aliases, we can import functions directly, and seeing as the sport package resides in the modules and packages folder that sits within the Python folder, once again, if I import sys and check sys.path, we know that the Python interpreter is going to search for packages within this location, so we know that it's going to be available to call. Practice creating your own packages, your own sub-packages, and your own modules with different functions inside. Then try calling those functions which you're storing centrally in another Python file to make sure you're able to import and execute code in different places.